Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being patient. We're going to go ahead and continue on with the Finance Committee meeting. The San Benito CISD Board of Trustees, today's Tuesday, June 4th, 2019. I call this meeting in order at exactly 7:35 p.m. Let's go on to agenda item number 2, review and discussion of the proposal of the RFCSP-0319-EHBHP Health Insurance Benefit Health Plan.
Good
Good
evening, Board President, members of the board, and Dr. Carmen. We're going to be going over first the information that are in your booklets, but I'm already going to be passing out the second hand.
Thank you.
So the district went out for bid for requests for proposals for the self-funded medical insurance plan. And in your board packet, if you look at the second page, which shows you who responded to the bids, there were 4 responses that were provided from the following carriers: Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas, Express Scripts, Inc., which is just a pharmacy company, Frady's Benefits Administration, and United Healthcare. And after extensive review of all the RFPs received, it is a recommendation to the board to stay with United Healthcare for the medical pharmacy and stop-loss products. So if you go to the next page, the third page, it shows you option 1, which is what the recommendation is with United Healthcare. It shows you option 2 and 3, which is who Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas, and at the very bottom in the orangish color, if it's colored, it shows you what the amounts are. Option 5 is from Frady's. So we were able to reduce United Healthcare's by from, I think, originally $33 and change to just $6.37, because we were able to negotiate a rebate credit from the pharmacy that offset the administration costs. And in more detail, if you go to the last page, you have what the current UHC fees are. If you go to the very bottom, it tells you the admin fee, the individual stop-loss fee, and the aggregate fee. So originally, we were recommending for the renewal option UHC, which was a 1.9% decrease in fixed costs versus this current plan year. But after I reviewed it more thoroughly and after speaking with Dr. Carmen and Dr. Cruz, I'm actually recommending the renewal of UHC at the 6.4% decrease in fixed costs. Because when you looked at the savings that you could get at the end of the school year with a little bit higher premiums, it didn't offset the premium itself. So now you're looking at, with the renewal of UHC and it being a 6.4% decrease in fixed costs from this year, you're looking at about $115,000 savings for the plan year of 2019-2020. Are there any questions on
Yes,
this?
when you said "we," who is the "we" that decided on the United Healthcare?
The proposals were evaluated by a third-party consultant, and that information was then provided to Dr. Carmen and Dr. Cruz. And with my recommendation and their input in it, that's what was decided.
So in other words, I know that are the employees, are the insurance going to go up? Is it going to, because I know that every time, since I was an employee with the school district, we would always get a raise, and then, of course, with a raise came the insurance. So there would go our little pay that we would get, a raise, we would have to pay for insurance, So that is my question, or is it going to be, is it helpful for the, for the employees? Because some of them, I know that the employees get the free, but if they add the family plan, now that's where it's gonna add up. And of course, a lot of them, they include their families, are included. So, just to make sure that, if, just for the record, I want to find out, is it going to go up? Is the insurance going to go up for our employees?
And that's what we're going to go over next, and that'll be your decision.
Mrs. Ortegon,
Yes.
real quick, but we're getting a savings on the medicine, right? The 6%.
The medicines, as far as the copays and everything and how it costs to the employees, there is no change in that. But the district, in their administration costs, the district's getting the savings.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
By exactly $27. Let me go back. It came out to $27.50 per employee per month,
Okay.
or actually per participant per month. And right now you have, in this analysis, it was 1,452 participants. That included employees and their dependents.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Ortegon, I think it's important that we reiterate the fact is that our employees don't pay, they pay $0. Our employees do.
Correct.
Not the family plan. I think that's very important because I think we're one of the only school districts in the valley that still does that.
Correct.
Okay, so I think that's something that the board as a whole needs to get educated on as well, because we provide a very good insurance for our employees. The family plans everywhere else may not be as great, but that just goes to, I think, in my understanding, and help me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that just goes, since we're a self-funded plan, that just goes on the amount of, I guess, cases or so on and so forth that we have issues, claims in our district, correct?
Correct. A lot of your expenses right now, from last year to this year, from what it's looking, is because of claims and claim trends. That's where the cost is coming. Now, we did do a comparison, or I did do a comparison. I shared it with Dr. Carmen, Dr. Cruz, regarding the school districts, neighboring school districts. So Brownsville ISD does have a slight charge in premium for their employee-only coverage. It's like $15. Harlingen ISD does have $0 copay. And then Los Fresnos ISD is a $23 for the base plan. And then we also did a comparison with TRS, and their middle plan, I believe, is $331. TRS is a lot higher. And with the family coverages compared to what current premiums are, you're only, you're about $50 to $60 higher for Brownsville ISD. You're only like less than $10 higher than Harlingen ISD. Los Fresnos, you're about maybe $100 and some higher. But the benefits are also different, so you're not really comparing apples to apples. But in just looking at it overall, San Benito has a very competitive medical insurance plan for their employees.
So is our deductible, how is the deductible gonna be on, will
Okay,
it go
that's
higher?
the next
Okay,
flyer.
ahead of you.
Okay. So if there's no questions on that, which we can come back if you have questions. So the flyer I just gave you, if you go to the first page, it has what the current plan designs are, and then what the recommended plan designs. And these were discussed with Dr. Carmen, Dr. Cruz, and Lucy Garcia on like the needs of the employees and how it was kind of based before. So before it had like the base plan at 80%, the middle plan at 100%, and the buy-up at 70%. So the buy-up plan was actually not as rich as the middle plan in some cases, and in some cases, the base plan. So what we try to do is unify it so that it makes more sense. So everything highlighted is what was changed, what's proposed to be changed. The base plan would have a 70% coinsurance, the middle plan an 80%, and the buy-up plan the 90%. And where the main difference is now is that the buy-up plan, the deductible for the individual and family went from 2,000 and 6,000 to 1,500 and 4,500. And ultimately, where you need to see, and it's easier to compare apples to apples with all the plans, is the out-of-pocket maximum, which is what an employee will pay in one calendar year if they had anything catastrophic, or even now just an outpatient or inpatient stay. So it went down from 5,600 individual and 11,200 family to 3,000 and 9,000, which is significant decrease. So these are what's proposed for the new plan designs, which makes more sense for the premiums that they're going to be paying versus the benefits that they're paying out. If you go to the next page, which we can come back for questions on this, but to let you see the next page, if you see the current enrollments on the very left, the employee only, the buy-up plan has the highest enrollment in employee only, aside from the base plan. The highest in employing spouse, by far the highest in employing children, 153, and kind of in the middle for employing family. So there are two sets of rates that are being looked at. The recommendation for the district's portion of the premium cost is to increase the employer contribution by 5%. To offset inflation for this current year and next year. The rates for the dependent coverage were being considered to be increased because, as it has been reported to the board, the dependent premiums that were set previously by the previous consultant back in October 2017 were at a very discounted rate. And that's what caused a deficit for the 2017-2018 plan year. Because of that, the district tried to offset part of that deficit by increasing the employer contribution, which is for the dependents, by $42 per employee per month, which began October 2018 for this current plan year. So you'll see in orange what the annual district budget increase would be. And then if you add in the $42 per employee per month, you're looking at about $740,000 additional money that was taken from the reserves this year that need to be now budgeted so that the reserve account won't go any lower and can start being built back up. You're still at a healthy reserve account, but you don't have, you shouldn't be going lower than that. So it gives you what the total annual district budget increase would be. So if you wanted a lesser impact to the employees on the dependent coverage, then the district can increase their employer contribution by 9% instead of the 5%. And then you'll see it's about a $380,000 impact for the year additional from the 5% for the district. But if you see in gray, the employee and spouse would only be like an $18 increase, $7.47. Like the increases are very minimal. So those were the options that are presented, the recommendation and the alternate rates, depending on how the district wants to facilitate that in the sense of the increases for the dependent coverage.
Yeah, I thank you, Ms. Ortegon, for the presentation. I know it's a lot of numbers, but I'm comfortable with the 5% or for the recommendation that you've proposed, only because, as you've mentioned, that forced us about $750,000 unbudgeted to be taken out of our reserves and now budgeted for next year. And if history serves me correctly, when I first got elected, I think the big item was health insurance and how the board at the time was very irresponsible. Our fund balance had been depleted by close to $16 million in 2 years is insanity. So I like this recommendation only because it's not large and it's not a huge significant increase either to employee or if we're looking through the employer lens. I just like that it's safe, and I think in doing the numbers, there are 1,473 total enrolled Dr. Carmen. And the ones who are occupying the employee only, which means they're paying nothing, are 1,127 employees. So we're looking at about 76, 77% of our employees who are paying nothing for their healthcare in this district. And so we're looking at about 23% that would be impacted by the increase on their part.
Correct. The
Which
percentage.
to me, looking at those numbers, I'm comfortable with.
Yes, the percentage of the employees that are being impacted that have dependent coverage are it's a fourth,
About 20, yeah.
yes, of the total population.
So I'm comfortable with that.
Insurance is very expensive, I know that, so.
Yes.
It keeps on fluctuating
Now,
here and there.
last year you had a high claims. This year, I just reported last month, but I'll be reporting in a couple of months for the next quarterly report. The claim trend ended very high last year, over 100%, which is where the claims versus premium would be, which is where the claims outnumber the amount of what you're paying in. And the difference from that ultimately comes out of your reserves as well. So it started really bad in October, November, December, but there is now a very big decrease coming every month. So if that trend stays in the next couple of months when I report, then we're hoping for 2019, 2020, which is what this plan year is, to be positive, to be able to put back into the reserves, and then maybe then for the 2020 plan year to look at maybe decreasing the rates and adjusting it that way.
Yeah, and I think that's why I said historically, like first when we were in trouble, we had to increase the rates exponentially. And of course, we told the employees and we warned them that that's what we were gonna do, but we had no choice or we're gonna go bankrupt. But when we finally had a healthy fund balance and we finally had a healthy financial outlook, we forced a lot of money from the district and invested in the employee health insurance, and they've enjoyed a really rich insurance plan. Now, to be financially responsible, we don't want to get to that rut again, so I think keeping up with inflation, and the 5% isn't much, and it's only affecting 23% of the employees. I feel financially responsible going with this recommendation so we don't have to face what we did 4 years ago. So it's a pendulum swing and it fluctuates. We're just not always going to enjoy, giving our employees what they need, obviously, but we are going to experience some ruts, and so I think that's where we come in as a board to remain financially responsible.
And just to reiterate on that, the percentage increase for the dependents is not that significant, where it would not be affordable to them. It would be, like, in some cases, it's only $95 for the entire month, but for your spouse. And the larger claims that is being experienced right now by the district are from dependents. So those claims, they're utilizing the plan. So they are reaping those rewards as well.
I think that's huge, and it's a part of educating our staff as well. I think it's very, very, very important so they can understand what self-funding means. So the district is responsible for this health plan. So thanks to people like you that are consultants that will come in here and help run these, and keep an eye out for these, these trends. But it's very important to keep in mind that education is huge. We would love to insure everybody, but unfortunately, it's almost, it's impossible with the trends in healthcare right now that are, with these insurance plans that are ridiculous. But I think extending it to our employees and giving them as much as we can, I think is huge. And we just have to reiterate that to them and just let them know that it can change from one year to the next. So I think with your reports, as often as you give them to us, I think we have to forward those over to our employees, which we do online on them, make sure they see our committee meetings, but I think it's very important to continue educating them on how this process works.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
And to let you know, I've worked with United Healthcare. The two reps are here, Darlene and Connie, and we put together a resource manual, a PDF resource manual that Dr. Carmen and Dr. Cruz will be putting online for the employees to look at, and it tells you everything regarding like heart healthiness. So it's kind of a one-stop shop If you go to the table of contacts, you can click there. It goes directly to the page of what you're looking at for maternity, for diet, eating better, and then there's also links for additional information. So I know Dr. Carmen's trying to promote that to the employees, especially during the summer months when they have time to go to the doctor, do wellness visits, and everything, that the employees have that in one access point that's easy for them to review the additional benefits that they have, and most of them are at no cost to them. It's part of the plan that's provided to them. Now, I did want, with your permission, I did get requested by Mr. Rosas. He had asked me about looking into a standalone, bringing back the standalone medical clinic. So I did get information regarding that in order to just give you an overview of what the cost would be. So when I discussed it with UHC, because they have a subsidiary, obviously if you're gonna go through this, it would go through, I'm assuming, the RFP process and go into more detail. But just to give you an overall of what it would cost, to do a clinic with the physician oversight, which would be there like 50% of the time, a full-time nurse practitioner, a full-time registered nurse, a full-time office manager, the cost would probably be approximately $150,000 for the year. And that does not include the cost of the equipment, which would be the one-time cost, obviously, to set it up, or any remodeling needed for the on-site locations. I know you had this program, my understanding is from like 2012 through 2015, and my understanding per Lucy and her history here, that it was discontinued because it became costly. So you're looking at, for the first year, between probably $900 to $1 million to set it up and get it running.
Would it, let me ask you, I understand, to me, back in the day when it was run, it didn't appear like it was very professionally run. So, other than that, the cost, is there any benefit by creating this clinic? Because a lot of people, diabetics, took advantage of it and they didn't pay anything. A lot of teachers went to it and went real quick to an appointment and went back to work also. The cost, I know it adds up regardless, but I'm looking into possibility, if we're gonna do it, and we get a doctor, he should have some of this equipment also, okay? If you're gonna be a doctor, you wanna run a clinic, you should provide your seats, you should provide a lot of stuff. That's what I'm looking at. No, but I'm looking at, is there any benefits for us?
Well, this clinic would be operated, owned by the district,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
So I can look into more detail on that,
Yeah.
but because this was brought up, I wanted also, because we have the UHC representatives here, that UHC offers what's called a virtual visit. I'm not sure, that's something we're educating the employees a lot more, but that's where they call in. It's at no cost to them, it's a $0 copay. They actually see them via phone or computer. So you're not physically there, but there is one-to-one contact with the doctor. And
Well, that part is very beneficial for teachers and people that are computer literacy. For maintenance individuals, it's not very benefit. What I noticed, it's a hard time for it. I understand what you're saying.
They
but,
use it via the cell phone as well.
Yes.
So we could, starting next year when school comes back in, to do specific trainings for transportation, cafeteria, maintenance, and those on how it works
Yes.
and how you can access it. Because everybody has a phone now.
Yes.
So it's just a matter of education.
Oh, no. Thank you for the information.
Yes. And one other thing that I've spoken to Dr. Carmen about was, I know he's having, or administration is having discussions with Su Clinica and seeing how if they can come into the district and provide services to the students and the employees as well, which would be a more cost-effective solution So I told Dr. Carmen that I'll try to contact Subclinica and also speak to them as far as what they can do for the employees of San Benito and how that can work, and maybe that be a solution as far as the on-site clinic, but through them, not through the district.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hold on, Ms. Yvonne, I got a question for you. As far as, you know, the clinic and all that, I think it's great. You know, of course, it takes a lot of planning to get it done. If it's gonna save us money in the long run, since we're self-funded, then great and good. But I think, looking at the big picture, I know for a fact, you know, in the Upper Valley, there's a lot of these clinics popping up everywhere. Maybe like you said, like Dr. Carmen said, you know, start just extending, you know, the olive branch to one of these community clinics that we have here locally. Maybe they can house our staff just to go somewhere locally for an outpatient visit, you know, so we can start those conversations and see if maybe, you know, it'll be something to look at, instead of us having to, you know, incur that initial cost and having our clinic in our school district. You know, I think we can just look out and see maybe one of these clinics that are already, you know, up and running can house our patients, or, I mean, our staff when they go visit,
Yes, sir.
so to speak.
And I did a review, but it was more Mercedes to Hidalgo County. And of all the districts there that were self-funded, that were larger school districts in comparison, that were comparison to you, Edinburgh ISD has DHR, and then PSJA has an in-house clinic. I'm getting more information on theirs, but there's very few districts right now that have that available on site.
Thank you, ma'am. Agenda item?
Thank you.
Agenda item at the 5%?
Yeah, agenda item, yeah. Okay, let's move on to agenda item number 3, review and discussion of the renewal of the frontline education agreement for 2019-2020 school year. Dr. Cruz?
Board President, Dr. Carmen, members of the board, administration recommends that the Board of Trustees approve the renewal of Frontline Education Agreement. The agreement will allow for unlimited usage of internal employees in coordinating substitutes, absence and time, applicant tracking, and vacancy postings. And the service also allows us to manage our substitute system, our substitutes, to fill our substitute needs, and has allowed us to post our vacancies to our website.
Okay, thanks.
I got a question. Okay, thanks. This is like,
This is a system that allows us to manage our substitutes, so it is linked to absences, but it also allows us as a department to eventually utilize electronic forms and track our applicants as they're following through with the system. So the price of the renewal is $101,980.38, and it covers Frontline Central, unlimited usage for internal employees, Frontline Absence and Time Solutions, unlimited usage for internal employees, and applicant tracking, unlimited usage for internal employees.
hold on, employees?
It's for our system of employees, yes. But it does extend out with our substitute
Substitutes,
teachers.
okay. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Agenda item? Okay, agenda item. Let's move on to the agenda item number 4, review and discussion of additional project raise stipends for the 2018-2019 school year. Dr. Cruz?
Administration recommends that the Board of Trustees approve the additional Project Rise stipends that will be paid out in 2019 for the 2017-18 state assessment results. Miller Jordan Middle School qualifies and participates in the Project Rise incentives, and stipends were recently approved through their advisory committee. These are additional to what they already offer. So stipends are going to range from $300 to $1,500 for teachers. For administrators who are at the campus for the 17-18 school year, stipends range from $1,000 to $4,000. In order for school administrators and teachers to be eligible for the additional stipend, they should still be employed at the same campus for this school year. So Project Rise stipends will reward the hard work of our teachers and administrators at Miller Jordan.
Any questions? That's cool. Thank you.
This is stipends for, questions for, this is stipend for rewarding a teacher, say it's at Dr. Cash or Dr. Garza, and their grades went up, or
So
their
this is
grades, in other words, what, their
performance.
performance went up.
So this is for Miller Jordan Middle School. They qualified to participate in Project Rise based on their performance. At one time, they were a struggling campus. So they qualified for this program through Region One.
That's a $25,000 they got, right, I believe? It was a while
I'm
back.
not sure, sir.
Okay, but this is basically for Miller.
There are a lot of incentives that have come out of that particular grant through Region One.
Okay,
And so these are in addition to what's already being provided. It's based on performance, on state assessments. And they have a well-thought-out plan to monitor the performance of the teachers and students. And Mr. Madrigal, you want to share some information?
The reason it applies to Miller Jordan, sir, it's because it's an IR campus. And in order to help them get out, they incentivized, Region One did. I believe the money comes from Region One.
It's a grant.
So
Well,
it is a
Region
grant.
it's a grant.
And the only camp that
I saw
qualified,
it where it was something like 25, but my point was, I just wanted to be sure, it's only for Miller Jordan.
yes, sir,
Okay.
because of their academic
Okay.
status last year.
Okay, thank you.
And that's why they did real good this year, I hear. So it's helping, it's
It
working.
helps
Awesome. Agenda item?
with their hard work.
Okay. Let's move on to agenda item number 5, review and discussion of the engagement letter between San Benito CISD, Cascos and Associates, PC. Dr. Carmen?
Actually, Mr. Rendon to address this, please.
Yes, Mr. Lopez and board members, this is our engagement letter. Last board meeting, they have, you all selected as Cascos and Associates for our external auditing team. This is the engagement letter that allows them to perform the audit once June 30th comes across. And they do state that their fee would not to exceed $47,500.
Agenda item?
Mr. Torres, in reviewing the contract, were there any differences than our previous external auditor in the difference in contracts at all?
The other one wasn't capped. I don't remember the company, but this one's capped.
Okay.
Mr. Torres, I was curious, in the contract, it didn't seem like the previous auditor had any specifics, areas to look at. Is this one gonna have like a contract, basically what to do with an agenda, like an outline, what to do?
Well, that's usually driven by the business office
Okay?
and in addition to the internal control.
Because it is, I don't want to talk bad about the other one, but she was a nice lady, but it didn't seem like she had we didn't have an outline for her to do certain things.
Oh, this is
This is,
this is external. She was internal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
yeah, this is an external, and we need an external one to do all the financial.
Okay.
And they
No,
find,
we'll take care of that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They run the external, and then they report to
Okay.
you all and to TEA, so it's from the outside.
Agenda item, ma'am. Let's move on to agenda item number 6, review and discussion of the renewal of the Skyward software for 2019-2020 school year. Ms. Rendon?
Yes, sir, this is a renewal of our current financial and student software, Skyward. This is year 2. Our renewal rate is $69,109. We are getting a 25% decrease in the services. We've nailed down some of the items that we're not using, and we're continuing going forward with year 2 of our software.
If I remember correctly, it was a nightmare in the first 6 weeks, and that's an understatement. I'm hoping and I'm assuming that that will not happen again. I'm
we've
sure it's
worked
not an
through
easy
some
answer,
issues.
but a lot of it had to do was because it was a new system, right, that they were trying out with us as a district, and so,
Yes, it is a new system for them, so we basically became the pilot program. We've worked through some. We provide a lot of feedback through them. That's partially why they're giving us a discount for the items
Right.
that
do it for
that
free.
we're doing. They
So,
have.
so I get, my specific question is, did we identify specific things that were wrong in the first 6 weeks that forced us to have these nightmares? And in identifying them, have they provided justification for what that's not gonna happen again?
We're continuing. We're working with it. We've, in different areas, Mr. Madrigal has pinned them down to transcripts, items like that. And as we're coming in every day, we discover, and they've been responsive, but it's working through them. I keep reminding themselves we're going through the middle of the lake, and our goal is to get to the other side, because going back is bringing in another software, we would go through the same training and so forth. It is a powerful platform. It's just that, like anything that's new, they develop it, but we're the ones that actually work on it. So we're discovering things that work and not work, but they are providing, and we brought them in for professional development, and slowly we are working through that, so.
Well, we know for sure it's a reputable company, but, you know, the amount of effects that it actually caused our district and the rollout plan of the superior, you know, software is pretty detrimental. It really was. It was a lot of headaches for administration that didn't need the headaches at the time. And honestly, I'm very disappointed with the company, and I wish they would give us a bigger break, because if we're gonna be buying this, you know, supreme software, you know, it really, you know, our parents, our staff were really very, extremely disappointed with this whole process. Everybody had to go back and do double, triple work just to make sure that, and if you're paying millions of dollars for a software, come on, that's ridiculous. You know, so, you know, I mean, I would keep on bugging them and tell them that, you know, we're not happy with their services. And, you know, because honestly, we're not. I mean, you know, to repair those relationships with our staff from purchasing such a software that's supposed to make their jobs a lot easier when they're there to educate our kids, it's pretty, you know, it's not cool. So, yeah, so that was one of my biggest pet peeves with this whole software, was that it was pretty rough. But I guess we'll, you know, well, let's hope so.
Mr. Rendon, Dr. Carmen, I know that teachers come in a week or 2 weeks early in August, and they sign up for classes. Can we have one of those classes being done by consultants, so those people that needed an update more into it, be one of those classes?
Yes, we can. You're asking for the new employees?
Well,
Or
no,
refreshers for
I'm
campuses?
telling you now, the new employees and old employees are having old employees are having problems with it still. I'm just, it'd be open for new employees, but I say, leave it open for the other people that really don't still get it. Because it's too, they gotta call in through, they gotta go through it to call in sick or something like that, my understanding. Log in or something like that,
Are we talking about time-wise, or,
timelines.
okay, that's a difference.
But is it not through the Skyworks?
Well, there's different pieces on the Skyward. We're
Yeah.
talking about leave.
Yeah,
We request leave, and it's electronic, such as, if it's substitutes, they need to go through the front line that we discussed. And that's the reason, that they have to go through front line, because that is tied to the audio, to get a, audio, it sends out a call so that we can get a substitute.
well,
Individuals that do not require a substitute, they go in there, request it electronically. I'm going to take a day off. It goes to their supervisor, they approve it, they get a message back saying it's been approved.
yeah.
Before, we were doing that manually. That has saved a lot of time of actually doing a form.
I
So-
don't disagree with the two programs, but I think we should offer it as
Training?
a training
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah. Well, in the finance, we will continue
For them.
entering purchase orders, things like that. Payroll will be doing training. That's an ongoing process. And I said, every time they come to a meeting during the year, they pick up a little bit more, and that's the struggle in a new software, that we're, you know, that we will provide training. And yes, for the new employees, they need to know how our system works.
Well, if it's possible to do it during the summer for those, I mean, they signed up, you know, I understand when you're talking about new employees, but I'm looking at the maintenance guy, the custodian, I'm looking at the cafeteria people. It's easier, I get it, getting the computer if I spend a lot of time in the computer, but give me a hammer and shovel and I know how to use it. Those people that are using the computer, can they do that? They get blisters. So they work for the district. So I'm trying to make it easier for them, okay? That's all I'm saying. Dr. Carmen?
Right, so certainly for new employees, we'll have a more in-depth training, but a refresher for returning employees, I think is a standard practice. And I feel certain in August we will have that. Some of the applications for the hourly employees you're mentioning, we have been rolling out as far, I guess, the time clock, et cetera. And so they are receiving direct staff development on those procedures. But
Mr. Rosas, it could be mandatory.
Apparently, not all employees get, okay? And sometimes a custodian or a cafeteria individual substitute teacher get into a principal. I'll be honest, the principals don't give them the day of time, okay? Let's face facts, okay? You're a teacher, and I respect you for that, but I'm trying to cover those employees. Okay? Now,
Well, it's very obvious that they just need more education all the way around. So, you know, it's a new software, like I said, it's not easy. It wasn't implemented or, you know, there was, you know, some breakdown somewhere there with the process, so with the software. But I think with continuous education and continuous supporting our staff all the way around in all areas, I think we'll be good. All right? Agenda item, thank you. Let's move on to agenda item number 7, review and discussion of the proposal of the RFP-0519-SI-student insurance. Ms. Rendon?
This is our student insurance. We went out for an RFP, our yearly RFP. So we've been going through every year. The recommendation to the board is to continue renewing with their present carrier, which provides the best value for the district, and it's Texas Insurance Service Group. We did have 4 different individual companies that did also submit a bid, different plans. The one that is being recommended is Texas Insurance, the alternate Texas Star Plan. The committee met, and the service would be $492,764. And you see the tabulation evaluation summary form has been provided to you as they ranked.
Agenda item? Agenda item? Okay, let's move on to agenda item number 8, committee concerns. There is one. Miller Jordan, Middle School.
Right, so this is for a pump that is that A-wing, Mr. Cole? Yes. That right now is inside of the building, and when you've been inside of Miller Jordan during the day, you can hear this pump, 30, 50, 60 feet away. We're expecting our teachers to teach, our kids to learn. We have students taking tests in those hallways. I sent a video to Mr. Cole where I was probably 30, 40 feet away, and it was so loud he came rushing over thinking there was something wrong with it, and it wasn't. It was just, that's how it runs. So we would like to remove that from being part of the educational environment and simply move it right outside of the building. And so there's a cost associated with that, and then a pump house to encase it as well. And that total bid, Mr. Cole, $111,504.99. Is that accurate? $111,504.99.
Agenda item?
Project Rise can
Is it, we pay with a grant, Mr. Cole?
however you would like.
Okay, Mr. Cole, thank you very much, I appreciate it, sir. Okay, agenda item. Let's move on to agenda item number 9, adjournment at 8:20.